Good afternoon, financial professionals. Abby Fletcher here of E4 Insurance Services, welcoming you to The Brew, building relationships every week. Thanks for tuning in today. For those of you returning attendees, check your email. Welcome back. We sent you an email with a survey. If you would take a moment and fill that out for us, we are seeking your feedback. For those of you joining The Brew for the first time, welcome. We like to start the Brewcast by celebrating today's National Day for April 21st. Today is National Administrative Professionals Day. That's right, folks. Today we celebrate those that keep our businesses organized and efficient. Knowing this audience, you guys are already worshiping the one that does this at your practice, but administrative professionals wear many hats, whether being the guardian of your calendar or your handler. We couldn't do it without them. So today, celebrate your assistant, your admin, your director of first impressions. It's all about them today. Today on The Brew, as part of our Process and Technology series, we have Larry Hitchcock and Matt Van Meter of Socialeads. Today, they will share a live tour of their AI platform that allows financial professionals to profile their social contacts and alert them of key life events to provide timely and customized messaging. Feel free to use the chat box below while Larry and Matt are live. I'll be keeping an eye out for your questions. Also, all attendees are in a drawing for a prize of a free continuing education course, and we'll be announcing the winner shortly. Thank you for tuning in, and without further ado, Larry, Matt, welcome. The mic is yours.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited to share Socialeads with you. Brief story about myself. I'm actually from Milwaukee, but spent 30 years in the California tech business before visiting Northwestern Mutual's reverse pitch a couple of years ago. Turns out they liked my idea over everyone else's to help their field sales organization. And thus the company was born. We actually do have office spaces inside of NM's global headquarters, but as a traditional tech startup, we're able to offer the product to everybody whose business card doesn't say NM. And we've learned a lot about not just life and financial services, but all the other kinds of insurance products out in the business. Matthew Van Meter is on. He's our head of sales. At the end of the call, we'll see his email address as well. And if you do have questions or want to reach out to us to give the system a try, I'd recommend using his email address. He's way more responsive than I am in getting back to folks. It usually takes me a few days to catch up to inbound emails. I know we have a limited amount of time, so I'm going to try to go through things as quickly as I can and share with you how Socialeads works. Do feel free to ask any questions in the chat channel, and Matthew, if you can monitor that chat channel and let me know when something's up that you think we ought to pay attention to. So this is my Socialeads account. One of the things I do want to mention to you is that, as Abby mentioned, we are interested in finding the people in your professional and personal social networks who are having the very life events that are the moments in time that are best for you to be of service to them. We take in data from LinkedIn. So here's my professional LinkedIn connection list. You can see I've got 1,117 connections. And we also take in data from Twitter. The reason we take in data from Twitter, and it might feel a little counterintuitive to you, is that we try to combine that professional data from LinkedIn, knowing when somebody's changing their career, where they're at in their career, where they work, what city they're from, with personal data that they might be talking about those life event moments. Now, don't fear, you don't need to know anything about Twitter in order to use Socialeads. And I'll give you a couple of examples of that. You can see my Twitter account is about 12 or 13 years old. That's because my VP of marketing back then said, Larry, you have to have a Twitter account. And I said, what's Twitter? And I still say, what's Twitter? I've tweeted exactly 18 times in 12 years. So I don't publish any content at all. I'm also really terrible at the whole influencer thing. I've got 2,500 people that I follow, and even though I don't tweet anything, for some reason, 300 have followed me back. What I do is I use the Socialeads engine, which is connected to Twitter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on my behalf to my advantage, and I'll show you how that works. I pick and choose who I follow, not just who, but also what business organizations I follow. So these 2,800 people, this 1,100 people, has grown because in Twitter's case, it allows us to go into what's called the second degree network to a feed list of over 219,000 people. So in the last 12 months, with the Socialeads engine working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on my behalf, I have a list of people that is over 200,000 people long. I could sit here and we could scroll and not ever get to the rest of the demo. We'd still not get to the bottom of the feed list. Now, that's a lot of people and probably too many for me to take a look at in any one view. So we've added a variety of ways for you to filter or segment this list down. I mentioned earlier, I've been in Milwaukee, only been in Milwaukee for the last couple of years. So one demo experiment I tried to do is try to figure out how many new leads I could get as if I just landed in a new town or I just started as an insurance advisor for a new company. And in the last 12 months, I've got 9,910 people just in Milwaukee. And if I look at Madison, you'll see I've got thousands of people in Madison, all just in the last 12 months with me not doing very much. Now, I'll take another look and show you a couple of different pieces of information so that we can show you how we can segment this down. I also was asked whether I could go find doctors, lawyers, investors using my Socialeads platform. And I said, I will go try that. I've got 5,580 people from around the US who say they're doctors. Now, this comes by way of a very key thing about how the Socialeads engine works. We're going to find for you not just people that you know, but people who are known by the people you know. All of those doctors are here because of one doctor. This particular doctor, Dr. Seeker, she works at Froedtert in the Medical College, Wisconsin, outside of Milwaukee. She's in the radiation oncology department. She tweeted about a year ago that she had just gotten married. Now, I followed her as a second-degree connection, meaning I was connected to somebody who was connected to her. I then went over to Twitter and followed her as a first-degree connection. And because of Dr. Seeker, I have these 5,000 other doctors. Now, because Dr. Seeker is in the radiation oncology business, I went and took another look and said, well, how many radiologists do I have? And when I found, by segmenting my list down to just radiologists, I found that I have 1,258, and I learned a very important thing about who to follow on Twitter. I found a company called Elsevier Radiology. Now, if I were selling business or employee benefit packages, this might be a proper lead for me, but it would not be a way for me to approach somebody at this company because this is Elsevier Radiology's marketing Twitter account. They're one of the leading publishers of medical journals in the radiology business. And you can see from the content, this is pretty esoteric. I don't think too many people will be reading this content who aren't in the medical imaging or the radiology medical practice business. When I started following this particular Twitter page, there was only 12,000 followers. In the last 10 months, they've gained 4,000 followers. So all of their marketing energy to gain followers is putting more radiologists in my feed list. So this is a key important thing about how to strategically use Socialeads to find either people that you want to follow that have big networks of their own or intersections like businesses that also have big networks of their own and add those people into the Socialeads feed list. I'll show you a couple of other little things that we do that are really important. I'll come down here to Jennifer Bland. Now, Jennifer's in my feed list because a year ago she tweeted that she purchased a brand new car for her older sister and paid that car loan off in 8 months. That triggered, in our world, the life event signal of debt-free. Now, we sort all of this by the life event, as we talked about, so that you can see people through the lens of what's happening in their lives and the moments of ways that you could reach out to them. Here's the nine life events that we have live right now. I'll show you a few more that we've got in the works. So, got a new job, just married, had a baby, bought a house, bought a car, paid off a debt. Caregiving is taking care of somebody in your house, retirement, death, somebody that you know. These are the ones that are live now. I'll show you a few more that we're working on. We also have started a new business. We have relocation, job searching, and new pet. New pet is obviously something going on a lot in the world of COVID. Job searching and relocation are both also very large events. Job searching is the predictor to new job. And for those of you who might be selling business line insurance, we also have people who are starting a new business as a way to start to get signal in whether or not somebody's at that moment where they may need a new business insurance package. One of the things I'll show you about Jennifer, we also partner with data providers that are going to help you have the rest of the contact information. So she came into my world by that tweet. She's a software engineer, and I'll show you how I know that. But our data partners have also given us her entire digital footprint, phone number, and 3 different email addresses for her. By taking a look at her LinkedIn profile, I can see whether I've got anybody professionally in my network in common with Jennifer. And I'm always surprised when I do see this. I don't know Jennifer at all. I do know that she's a software engineer at Black & Decker in Atlanta because I've looked at this before. And then when I look at my professional overlap, this fella, Colin Vincent, is somebody that I do know. I advised him when he started the equity directory a number of years ago, and that's what I was doing for a living, helping startup founders, not being one myself at the time. So I know I could call Colin and ask for an introduction and see more about Jennifer. But I also see that I've got my friend Pearl, who's a software engineer in Madison, Wisconsin, as a connection in common. There's Jennifer in Pearl's list. And now I know I've got 2 different ways that I could find an introduction to Jennifer if she was somebody they wanted to reach out to, in addition to having her phone numbers and her email addresses. I want to show you one other thing that I know about Socialeads is that everyone who's in my feed list is both an opportunity and also somebody who has leads of their own. So this little list of people over here are leads from Pearl. This is people in Pearl's first degree network, not mine, who are good leads for me potentially to reach out to. They are people who either match my ideal client profile, which I'll show you in a second, or are having life events that would be of interest to me. So maybe when I'm talking to Pearl about introducing me to Jennifer, I could also ask for an introduction to Justin, who's recently gotten a new job in Seattle. We have a few other things that I want to show you before I wrap up, because I know my time is a little bit limited. We do have what we call an ideal client profile. This is a way that we tell our search engine or our mining engine out on Twitter to look only for people first who match it. In the time of COVID, we know that a lot of people are selling across state lines and in multiple cities, sort of outside of the geography that you used to. So we can put in as many cities and states as you'd like. We can put in a lot of different kinds of job titles. These are actually top-level job titles. There's lots of different job titles below that. I think we have something like 8,000 or 10,000 individual job titles in our data. What type of career level you're at, and what your age range is. I've recently changed this, so it's still processing to show me that, but it'll show me people just in my list now that are in my ideal client profile, and I can use that as my starting spot. We can also save and segment lists out. So all of those people that are in my big feed list, I can save them out either into active leads. This is where I keep my centers of influence. These are people I know that have large opportunity lists of their own. So lots of people in their feed list meet my ideal client or have a particular life event. Here's my friend Scott, who's also an entrepreneur in Madison, Wisconsin, runs his own software business. You can see we've got a lot of Scott's information as well. But this is a way that I've stored off the people that I might want to reach out to on an every week basis to ask for introductions to more people. One other thing that we've got, and I'll show this over here on our other system because that one doesn't have this feature turned on yet. We are also integrated with Salesforce, if that's your CRM of choice. We're in the process of integrating with HubSpot and Microsoft Dynamics. And also every one of this feed lists that you have, you can also export this list out to a CSV that can then be imported into another system for either phone dialing, emailing out, or other sorts of things. And then last thing I want to mention, in honor of today being National Administrative Assistant Day, your assistant can also help operate Socialeads for you. So you can invite your assistant, they get a login and credentialing system to your account, and they can help segment that out. They can build you phone lists, they can build you email lists, they can build you centers of influence lists and then share those with you. They can do everything that you can do in your Socialeads list, including going out and finding the right people to follow on the social fabric. That's a quick overview. I'll also leave you with one other thing. If you do want to sign up, you can go to socialeads.com and sign up. Everyone who signs up gets a 30-day free trial. I mentioned earlier that we don't charge you for a number of leads. We're not a list seller. We're not like ZoomInfo or a list seller. You can end up with as many leads as I have. I've got over 200,000 in my feed list in just under a year. The system will constantly be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every day you look, you'll find new leads in here. After your 30-day trial, it costs just $50 a month if you buy a year in advance, so $600 for an entire year, and hundreds of thousands of leads can be yours. I think I've just about matched my time.
Bravo. Geez, Larry, you were right on time, but we have a plethora of questions, so buckle up, guys. Here we go. First one, tell us more about the leads that are they required that we interact with the contacts through the respective social platform in which we were alerted of the life event, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you're actually not. And in fact, there's a number of ways that we can interact with the lead. So, in, for example, Jennifer's case, I'll come back over here where we've got both phone numbers and email addresses. We drop the email here, we drop her LinkedIn here. That's done automatically for you. So you could just go over to LinkedIn and invite her to connect, or message her here from LinkedIn if you have LinkedIn credits or you've got a LinkedIn premium. You could just email her. In this case, this will open up my email account. I use Microsoft Outlook, and whatever you guys have as your Office suite, that would automatically open up that email system. We do know that from a compliance standpoint, in working with Northwestern Mutual, we've pulled this data in a completely compliant fashion. So when you reach out to them, you would want to use whatever compliant communication tools that you have. So if you've got email systems that are you kind of run your compliance tools through, you can do that as well. We do find, and we've got people who have reached right out to somebody on Twitter through direct message and have closed business doing that. There's no prohibition about it, so long as the content of that that approach on Twitter is compliant. We don't recommend we tease the NM advice. Don't tweet out that NM's whole life has beat the S&P every year for the last 20 years and guaranteed for the next 20. You'll get a note from a little nasty gram from your compliance team if you do that. So as long as you're communicating compliantly, you can use any and all of these methods to go reach out to Jennifer.
Good one, good one. Another one, more so on the filters or of your ideal candidate. There was a filter for estate.
Yes, I'll come over here and show you that. So
Thank
this
you.
is estate planning or thinking about estate. And it's still in QA because it's not quite perfect yet, but you can see I've got 325 results here that are talking about either planning for their estate or thinking about it. And it's not ready because you can see I imposed my will. So it's picking up on will. So we constantly have to improve it a little bit. But this is part of a package where we think about estate planning, relocation, retiring. These are all in that sort of bucket. So when we look at retirement, this is also one that we're still finishing up. These will be coming out soon. We hope in the next month or two, as long as we get it so that we feel like the sort of tweets that are the evidence are accurate enough.
Yep. Good one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Last question I have here from the audience. They're all impressed. I can say that with certainty. But also, what support is provided to the advisors to help get them up and running, having different technology levels of expertise?
Yeah, great question. For everybody that signs up, we do what we call an onboarding session with our client success team where they'll take you through getting your account set up. The whole thing takes maybe 5 minutes to get the account set up. Don't worry if you don't have a Twitter account right now. Don't need one. When Matthew Van Meter started as our head of sales about 5 or 6 months ago, he didn't even have a Twitter account. He started it the day before he started his first day on the job and now has tens of thousands of leads in his account. You really don't have to know Twitter. What you have to know is how to click the follow button. So you have to use this finger on your mouse, and that's all you need to do. Simply by following other people on Twitter, you'll end up with your lead list in Socialeads. Once we've got you fully onboarded and we've taught you how to follow people and how to connect us to your Twitter account and import your LinkedIn contacts, At that point in time, we come back a couple of weeks later, we have what's called an optimization session in which we take a look at what's in your feed list. We talk to you about who your ideal clients are. We give you some pointers on how to find more of your ideal clients and how to tap into those intersections in the social fabric. And then we also have a lot of tip sheets and how-to sheets that we send to you right after the onboarding session. So there's a lot of guides. We also have scripts for how to do that initial approach, because oftentimes you think, well, I don't really know this person. I've only got their digital information. So what's the best way to do that first approach to get the most opportunity and the most traction on that? We've got a lot of guides on that as well.
Excellent, excellent, Larry. And thanks to both of you for joining the brew today. We'd like to close the call with a drawing for a continuing education course. So please give me a number between 1 and 19.
18.
18. Who's the winner? Who's the winner? Tammy Mark, congratulations. Be on the lookout for a complimentary CE course coming your way from all of us here at E4. And make sure to tune in next week for the brew. We'll have E4's very own Bill Anderson. He'll be reviewing how to maximize IRA dollars as part of an E4 exclusive. Thanks, friends. Make it a great day.